Ken Goody, what's good, man? Give everybody a few minutes. Mr. Mir is great. It's good, man. Or woman, not sure. We'll get a few people, a couple minutes to join in. A few things to go through. Interesting times when just did a Kickstarter for a, not Kickstarter, GoFundMe for a presidential campaign. So we'll kind of talk through that. Emmanuel was good. And yeah, we'll just kind of, this is going to be the launch for that. So we're going to put this on the GoFundMe, and then we're going to have weekly Zoom calls where we'll kind of get some feedback and things of that nature. But claiming to be the first awake presidential candidate. What's going on, thoughts? And we'll see what happens from it. It's going to be an interesting experiment. Yeah, we'll just say that. I was going to show the campaign. The campaign's live. There's a few ways you can get to it. One is going on vikterbang.com, and you can see a link in there under the blog. And the other is spiritact.com, and you can see it there, or you can search it on GoFundMe. But we'll let it run for at least a month and kind of gauge it. But it's really the idea or the intent behind it is to show an alternative to the politics and religion that we've been having so far. I appreciate it. Love you too. And it's an interesting place to be. So everything I'm talking about now has been done. Hey, what's going on, AZTron? So it's been done. The campaign is out there. The work leading up to it is out there. The 100-degree challenge is out there. The Zoom meetings are scheduled. So we're going to have virtual town halls where we're trying to get input, because really the only way this thing's going to work, the only way humanity can get out of the hole that it's in is together. And it's going to take effort on all of our parts. And there's a lot of apathy. There's a lot of watching. There's a lot of sidelining. There's a lot of, it can't get any worse. There's a lot of someone else is taking care of that, all of these things. And so I'm hoping we don't get to the point where it's that bad and the hole is so deep we got to dig ourselves out. I'm trying to get ahead of the game, but how can I help? Oh, well, appreciate it. One way to help is to take a look at the GoFundMe, and if you share it, and if you feel compelled to donate, then that's cool. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to show a different vision of what's possible. What we're seeing now in politics is the same old, whether one person is in or another person is in office, we're getting the same story. And that same story is benefiting a select few. So we're trying to show a different perspective. We're trying to show a perspective from a higher consciousness standpoint, from a spirituality standpoint, from a unity standpoint, equality, all of these things, right? And really, like they say, speak truth to power. So we're trying to get into that conversation and show people that it's possible for us to be a part in creating the kind of reality we want, or being participants in the government that we want to be a part of, or that we want to participate in. Because right now, that's really not the case. And the thing is, the people that are in charge, you can just look at the trajectory that we're on. You can look at their agendas, you can look at their interests, and it's not about helping the common person, the everyday person. And I just want to show an alternative to that, to show people that it's possible. I may not be the right person for the job. There may be someone that's better at this than I am, but I'm at least taking the initiative to put myself out there just to see. And it may not, nothing may come out of it. That's definitely a possibility. And what's going on to the people that joined? So that's definitely a possibility. And that's what I want to see. I want to see what's possible, because the people that will run, that are positioning to run, or even for any office, they're not going to talk about higher consciousness. They're not going to talk about spirituality. They're not going to talk about unity. I'm not going to talk about the problem with politics, the problem with the system, the problem with money in politics, the problem with all of these things, right? Because they benefit from that system. I mentioned before that the system isn't broke. The system is working exactly how it's supposed to work, in my opinion. So those that benefit from the system don't have an incentive to change it, right? So it takes an outsider to show that perspective, and also to show that that perspective is more valid and has more value to the people that are participating in it. Because right now, the government that we have only benefits a select few, and we see that. But part of the game is to try to vote in someone for change, but the trajectory keeps going, right? So part of the exercise is to show an alternative and to show a vision of what's possible from someone that's been a part of the system, and thinks deeply about what's possible. And again, a lot of these people that are in office now and that are running are really self-centered, in my opinion, right? So just kind of showing that alternative. So we've done a GoFundMe page, and we're just trying to get a group of people that actually want to make change and want to be part of, I wouldn't say the resistance, but part of the change that we want to see in the world, and see who's really serious about it. A lot of people are going to talk about it and not want to put any skin in the game, or not want to put their face out there, and I get that, and that's fine. So I'm one of the knuckleheads that's attempting to do something, and it won't be forever. It could be that I'm too early. It could be that it needs to get worse for people to realize that they need to do something. Hopefully it doesn't get that way. Hopefully it doesn't get to that point. But it's possible. You know, I can't rule out that possibility. There was a movie called Don't Look Up. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's about, it was going on, what is it? Mystic Muffin. What's going on, Mystic Muffin? There's a movie called Don't Look Up that I watched not too long ago, where there were these scientists that discovered this asteroid that was coming to the planet, or comet that was coming to the planet. And they had pretty much 100% certainty that it was going, hey, Cynthia, that it was going to join. I was going to thinking about Cynthia. That it was going to hit the planet, talking about Don't Look Up. And just the story, and it was a satire, and it was, you know, somewhat of a comedy, but it had a lot of truth in there as far as these people trying to warn the population of something that's impending. And it took so much effort just to get their voices heard. And I'm not going to give the story away for those that want to see it, but it's interesting how it played out. And that's definitely not far-fetched in this reality. And again, I don't want to give the story away or give any spoiler alerts for that movie. But if you see that, you can see that even with the proper amount of foresight, the proper amount of planning, what's up, Black Hawk? The proper amount of intelligence and data, science, whatever you want, you're still dealing with other factors that could try to spin that story or could try to negate it and all these things. And the people that were trying to forewarn the population about this impending threat didn't have the money, the resources, or the voices that will get the point across. And as they were trying to deal with the mass media and things of that nature to get that message out, it was, you know, taken in all different kind of ways, right? So I'm not saying we have a comet coming to the planet, but there's definitely a lot of conflict that's happening. And I just don't see the people that are in charge looking to resolve it in a way that is peaceful. I don't think they even have that in their toolbox. I think the diplomacy, the being able to, the empathy, being able to understand the other situation and all that, I don't know how much of that goes on. Again, I'm outside looking in. So part of it is to really see what one can do if one took that approach, if one was trying to see what is in common with the other versus blow up the differences, talk about the differences. I'm sure all of us, hey, what's going on, Pink? I'm sure all of us have a lot more in common than we do different. So we can blow up the differences, but I can guarantee you we have the majority of things in common. Hey, how you doing? So again, those are the facts. I mean, for one thing, we're human beings, right? We have that in common. Now, from a higher perspective, the color of our skin, our sex, our sexual orientation, whatever, does not matter. That's just the superficial stuff. But those are the things that are blown up. Those are the things that are taken to the forefront and used to divide us. But in the grand scheme of things, those things don't matter. Again, borders don't matter. These lines, these imaginary lines, these labels, these things that people are fighting and dying over, in the grand scheme of things, are negligible when it comes to what really matters, right? So I don't see that coming from these politicians now. I don't see that coming from the people in office, from the people in power. So part of my exercise was to see if I can interject myself in that conversation, which is why I had the GoFundMe and all of those things. And I've set myself up to be able to do this on a high level in a resourceful way. We talked about it before. They spent over $14 billion on the political election for the last presidential election, mainly on advertising and things of that nature. It's a waste of money, right? Most of that goes to advertising and ads that slander each other and throw dirt on each other and things of that nature. So there's definitely a better way that we can do this. And I just want to show the alternative and do it with the level of clarity that people can see the difference. Because right now, you don't see the difference. They're only given one side of the story. And we're given two choices that are a two-headed snake, in my opinion. And I'm trying to show an alternative because we don't see that alternative. And the thing is, if you look at what's out there now, what's going on now, I don't see someone that's talking common sense, that's talking from a rational standpoint. And that's what we're going to need. We're going to need someone that's looking at this from a higher perspective. So that's my intent with this. And who knows where it goes. Part of what I like to do with this campaign is also simulate and get your opinion and get the public's opinion, the people that are actually the majority, to get their opinion, their input on how they actually want their government to be, want their reality to be. Right now, it's being dictated to us by people that want to keep control and power and resources and money and all of these things, right? So who's the one that is, for one, in touch in the workforce, understands that part of it, but also values that part of it? Because a lot of the politicians, they understand the people that do the everyday jobs, the normal people like us, but they just come to us when it's time to vote, and then they'll tell us whatever they want to say to get our votes, and then they're out of there, right? And then we're programmed to say, well, they're just a politician, they're just a lying politician. That's what they do. They say one thing and do another, all right? So he's crooked, so now we're going to vote in someone else, all right? And we're on that cycle. And as we continue to be on that cycle, the same agenda gets pushed forward, right? Gets pushed forward bit by bit by bit. Hey, what's going on, Ryder? And so we're talking about the presidential campaign that I just launched today. So we're going to have, you can look at it on vikterbang.com. You can look at it on spiritinact.com and also on GoFundMe. And I'd like you guys to participate in the Zoom calls as well. And it's going to start off slow. I understand that. But I think when people start to see the vision, that's what I want to impart, a new vision for what we can do, for how we can live on this planet, right? To get us back in balance with each other and with nature. Most of us, none of us probably on this, don't have a spaceship or anything like that to get off of this planet. So we need to take care of this planet to the best of our ability. And there's an infinite amount of ways that we can share resources compared to, I'm with you, Pink, compared to what's going on now. And that's the thing, we're only shown limited options. And someone that's on the outsider, it's tough to get into that arena. Because again, the media is part of this, right? It's a whole money game. You can just follow the money. You can, I mean, we've talked about this. We see the script that they play. We understand all of this. So we're a small majority. But I feel if we can get that story to a certain amount of people to show them the difference, show them the value, show them the red pill versus the blue pill, then maybe they can start to see. And maybe they won't. But this is an exercise that I want to try because I want to be able to leave it all on the table from my standpoint and really be able to say that I did everything that I could with what I had and the level of awareness that I've had. What's going on? Dope is dope. So that's the idea. Because the two things that are running this place is politics and religion, and they're pretty much in bed. They're the two things you can't talk about at work, but are pretty much running this thing. And the politics, and they're in bed. They're in bed together. And yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to see, and it's crazy to see how people, I don't know if they just don't care or don't think things could get worse. I mean, or I'm not sure. I mean, that's part of the things that I want to see from your standpoint. And I know you guys are maybe not the target audience, because if you're on this, then you're ahead of the game more than likely, or you can just be snooping in or whatever. But most of the people that are in tune with the stuff I talk about are on that level, right? We understand the higher aspects of things. So really, it's about getting in contact in front of people that don't. And there's going to be some conversations that need to be had. And I feel I can have those conversations in a compassionate way and show from my experience where I came from to where I am, some of the pitfalls that I've had to get through to get here, and show the difference, show the alternative. And again, show a vision for humanity's future. I don't see that from what's out there. So you heard the quote, be the change you want to see in the world. So I'm being the change that I want to see. And the thing is, it feels like the support, and we'll see. That's part of the thing. Where is the support there? Do people have the appetite for change? They will say they do. Yeah, Gandhi, right? They will say that they do, but in order for this thing to really work, people have to get involved. We have to take responsibility. We have to take our power back. We have to be accountable. We can't give our power to these authority figures. And we were indoctrinated with that coming up through the school system. So it's programmed into us. But just look at what they've done with the power that we've given them. And it doesn't take a rocket science or a time traveler to see that it's been abused, and they're continuing to abuse it. And there's no incentive for them not to, because they benefit from it, right? From the greed, from the selfishness, and things of that nature. So again, the intent is to show an alternative. And we'll see what happens, because this is new territory. There isn't a script for this. There isn't a play. This is going to be a collective thing. This is us deciding that we've had enough, and that we want to be involved in the change, and that we want to see a difference. And until we do that, it's not going to change. Like I mentioned before, we're the ones that we've been waiting for. You're the ones that we've been waiting for. You're it. If not you, then who? We keep passing the buck and passing the buck and passing the buck. But the people that have the ability to make change or not make a change. I mean, that's just what it boils down to. And the people that are in these campaigns, they're all playing the same game, right? They aren't really trying to shake the system up. They're part of the system. Most of them are products of the system. So someone that's truly outside of the system, it's tough to get in there. It's tough to get your voice heard. A lot of people believe that if what you're saying was true, it would be on the news. But they don't realize the news is not intended to tell you the truth per se. And a lot of the news is scripted. There's a lot of fake news. News is supported by the people that advertise. So that advertise on those stations. So there's no incentive for them to say things that are detrimental to the hand that feeds them, right? They say don't bite the hand that feeds you. So it's a rough road because there's a lot of momentum built up to where we are. And it doesn't take much for you to look in the news. You can see we're on the brink of potentially World War III, right? I mean, it's definitely possible. And now everyone's nuclear armed. So, who knows where it can go. And the thing is that I don't see the people that have their finger on the button trying to be very diplomatic, right? A lot of the things that are going on now are historical. I don't like you because of this, but I'm not talking to you per se. I'm talking to the history, right, of something that happened in the past or whatever. So we're not really dealing with what's going on now. We're dealing with historical stuff. We're dealing with past beef, if you will. But that past beef is brought into the future. Like we need to be able to see each other clearly. We need to be able to understand what are your true intentions? Where are you really coming from? And really try to understand that. And again, I don't see that happening. And I know this live isn't the most uppity and all of that stuff. And it is what it is. So we'll see where this goes, but it's going to take, I'm stressing this, it's going to take us. And there's part of me, I observe a lot. I see a lot. And I just see that just people. I just came from the mall and I'm just seeing things that are going on. And it's like people are oblivious to the issues at hand. And I feel that people think someone else has got it. Someone else has got it taken care of. But if they do, where is the better stuff? How come we don't see that? And how long are we going to allow them to continue to not bring us better stuff before we realize it's not working, right? It's not working now. It hasn't worked for a while. It hasn't worked for a long time. But we continue to have faith in a system that has not benefited us. I mean, and we see it. It doesn't take a rocket science to see it, but we're so caught up in all of the superficial stuff. And that's part of the program. That's part of the program. So it's an interesting position to be in, to see these things going on, to want to help on the highest level that you can, but not do it to the degree that you feel you can do it. Like I feel that I would be a better president than the one that's in there now and the one that was before, for a lot of different levels. And one of the things that I don't have a lot of experience with, or the things that I don't, are the things that I would use to my advantage to share the learning process with the people. And that's part of the idea as well, to go through this process to simulate what we can do, what's possible for, I appreciate it, Pink, what we can do, but to also educate us on this process, on why there's so much money in politics, on why we have lobbyists, on why there's a revolving door between the corporations and the entities that regulate those corporations, right? And again, these things are not going to be talked about by the people that are in the system now. And I've heard stories on how people want to go to Washington and want to change things, but when they get there, they get caught up in it and all that stuff. I don't know how true that is, but that's something that I want to see for myself. And as much effort as it took to get to this point, I'm not going to sell out for anything for whatever. Like it's not going to work, because why would I sell you out? Why would I sell out the people that I'm trying to help, right? That's just not me. So maybe that's why I'm on this side and try to do the things that I'm doing, because I won't sell out. You know, who knows? That's what we're going to see. But you're also seeing an attempt to do something on the highway. Hey, what's going on, Killer Candid? Hey, what's going on, Alexis? So we'll see. And the thing is, so I'm an engineer, so I'm a problem solver by nature, right? I have an analytical mind. I look at problems and I try to think of pragmatic solutions that solve these problems. And I do this day in and day out. I work with a lot of quote unquote smart people, right? That will give you a problem that they don't know how to solve. And they don't have any input on how to solve this problem. And it's your job to get all of the data, to simulate the best option. And then the thing about engineering is it has to work. You know, it has to work. And if it doesn't work, then you refine it to get it to work. But it's just not a pie in the sky thing that's just half-assed, if you will. It has to work. And these are the things, the same methodologies, the same processes that are used in business, right? Six Sigma, lean, continuous improvements, things of that nature. So there's methodologies that they use. Car companies use them. We use them. A lot of people use them because they work, right? For efficiency, for reducing errors, for increasing quality. So these things can be used on a larger level from a government standpoint as well. And most of the people that are in office or that run for office, or, I mean, we've got actors, we got lawyers. Yeah, most of them are actors and lawyers. You have very few people that are normal people. I don't see many engineers that have been in office. Someone that is going to look at it from what is the best solution, not from a political party standpoint, not what, I'm not going to discount an idea just because it comes from this person or that person. If it's a good idea and it works, then we should go with that. We should take the best idea that's going to help the most people, that's going to be successful. That's the reality that we should have. That's going to not degrade our environment. That's going to help us on multiple levels. Like, it's possible. If we're thinking about this and imagining this is possible, the thing is to try to show that vision of what's possible. And that's part of the campaign. That's what we want to simulate. And there's going to be people that are going to base what can be done on what has been done, right? And we can show the difference. But just because you've seen someone do certain things doesn't mean that another option is not available. But those things can be talked through. If we can have this conversation, what is your ultimate goal? So the ultimate goal is a more better, or not more better is not the right word, but a better, let's just say better system than we have now. One that actually is empowering the people, and one that actually gives freedom back to the people. And the system that we have now is empowering a select few. It is built on unlimited profit, destroying the environment, which is the only environment that we have. It's built on things that are not sustainable. Unlimited profit is not sustainable when you have finite resources. So what we've been doing, and look at all the debt that this system is incurring, that it's just getting kicked down the road, right? So there's an infinite number of better ways that we can do this. Now, I have ideas, but thing is, I don't want it to just be my idea. I want it to be our idea. I want it to be a collective idea, because there needs to be buy-in. There needs to be skin in the game. We need to be involved in this, because that's how we got into this right now. Because, well, I didn't vote for this person, so they can just run it down the drain because I didn't vote for them, right? So I'm going to vote for this person, and then they run it down the drain, and the other person says, well, I didn't vote for this one. Doesn't matter who you vote for. If it's going down the drain, we're all going down the damn drain. right? So that is the point. Let's stop it going down the drain for one. Let's stop the momentum of the destruction that we're on. It's really destruction on several levels: destruction of the environment, destruction of freedom, destruction of liberty, destruction of sanity, right? It's happening on multiple levels. So I'm not going to let perfection get in the way of progress, but part of the goal is to just show that there's an alternative, there's a better alternative. And I may not have all the answers, I may not have the exact right way, but just to get the conversation started that there's a better way. And then maybe the people that are smarter than me that have these ideas, that have these solutions, could come out of the woodworks and see that there's actually a place for them to apply their talents, knowledge, and skill. So that's one step, right? Because I don't want to say, well, I have all of the answers. I think about this stuff a lot, and I do have ideas, but it's more about starting the conversation and showing what's possible and showing the value of thinking different and doing things different, and showing the value of being involved in these things. A lot of people are not involved in politics, and I get that. I don't want to be involved in politics. I mean, I'd much rather just chill, do music, and just, not worry about the stuff. But when you look at the world, it doesn't work that way, because the decisions that they make are affecting us, whether we like them or not like them, whether we voted for them or didn't vote for them, right? If there's a war on your doorstep, then, I mean, you're not going to be able to enjoy your Netflix or your movie or your stream or whatever, right? And by that time, it's too late, right? Whether you're involved in politics or not, these decisions are being made. And there's people that are going to just blindly follow this stuff and do things, even though they don't make sense, right? And part of that is because they don't have the alternative, right? So part of that is showing the alternative. And just throw the whole earth away. Yeah. I mean, that's part of it too, is the disconnection with the planet, the division that's going on, the separation, the competition. All of these things are ingrained in the politics. Just look at our political system. It's not about who has the best idea, who brings the most value, whose ideas are the most pragmatic. It's about winning for your party, right? Or getting wins for your party, or getting this person in so we can take Congress back, or we can get the House, so we can get this person on the Supreme Court. Like, they're still playing a game of us versus them when it's just us. And we lose when it's that game, when they play that game, right? We end up losing. So, and again, as them being part of the system, it's self-reinforcing. It's like self-policing, because few of them are gonna buck against their party and things of that nature. Yeah, the biggest game ever. Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy. It's crazy to see. Like, if you just step back and think about this planet, right? Let's just step back, right? Let's get out of the politics and all this stuff. Let's just look at it from a human standpoint, right? Everything that we have is given to us for free. Everything we have, right? No one owns anything, right? You don't own any dirt. You don't own an electron. You don't own a proton. You don't own carbon. No one owns this stuff, right? It's all nature. It's all part of nature. And we've allowed a specific way that these resources get split up in the system. We've allowed this to happen, right? And it's not natural. It's definitely not natural. I mean, we can see it's not natural. What other organism in nature destroys its own environment? I mean, they're not that stupid. They're not that stupid. They understand balance. They understand taking what they need, and that's it. But us, we've got this system of consumption, buy, consume, to feed a system of profit, money, that only benefits a few. And the money doesn't mean anything. It's worthless. No one can take it with them. They can't take all those billions of dollars with them. If they wanted to, they could apply that to things that are beneficial on a lot of different levels. They don't want to, because it's a gain for them as well. I've heard quotes from some of these people that it's like keeping score. They think money is how they keep score, which is stupid. And that's the thing. If you don't see the alternative to show that there's another way of thinking, maybe a better way of thinking, but at least show another way of thinking. Yeah, greedy, absolutely. Then you won't see it. Like you'll think this is how it's supposed to be. And a lot of us feel and have been programmed that this is how it's supposed to be, right? The media does not show you the alternatives. Let's look at it from a data standpoint. The news is just, it's a lagging indicator, right? So someone does something and then they report on it. Someone does something and then they report on it. By the time they report on it, it's already done. It's already done, right? There's no foresight into the decisions and the actions that are being taken, right? What is the mentality that's going into making these decisions? Why are we making these decisions? They're just reporting on the decisions, on the things that are done. We need to look at our mentality, our thoughts, our hearts, our awareness before we make these decisions. And that's not being seen. That's not happening, right? The news is just reporting on what's happening. So we need to get in front of this thing, and we need to not allow people that don't have that same forethought, that aren't thinking about the larger scale, that aren't looking at a unity, looking at it from a unity kind of standpoint, to be in office. And I know there's not many alternatives because again, they give us the two-headed snake to vote for, but we're the majority. I mean, that's another thing that you don't hear. As soon as we realize that, then we can change it, and that's part of the conversation. That's just part of the intention. So, and it's a journey because, oh man, we've been hoodwinked for so long. We've been programmed for so long, and people have given up on a lot of things. And people will say, oh, well, that's just the way it is. Yeah, we're not seeing the entire story, absolutely. We're only getting bits and pieces. It's crazy. I mean, there's so many rabbit holes we can go down to, and I'm trying to keep it on the top level. And I think we'll eventually get there, but I just hope it's not too late. I feel like the canary in the gold mine are in the coal mine, and I'm trying to warn, but it's like it's not bad enough yet for people to see what's going on. Like they still think someone else is going to do something for them that we should be doing for ourselves, right? And we have the history. I mean, you could just Google how much debt you owe, right? I mean, how many systems could you not balance your budget and keep borrowing money, keep increasing your credit limit and just spend unwisely, right? We can't do that, right? But our government can do that with our money, and we're on the hook for it, right? And it's just messed up. They're not responsible. And I look at the younger generation. I think about the world that we're going to leave them, the debt that we're leaving them. A lot of people are just kicking it down the can. A lot of their mentality is, well, if someone else is doing it, I'll be dead, but I don't know. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. We should look out for our future ancestors, right? The next generation that are here, especially if we plan on coming back, right? If you want to come back to this place, you want it to be in decent shape. They don't see it like that. And again, it's a game, and it's a crazy game. Great generation. Yeah, absolutely. And we can. The thing is, there's so many things that we can do differently. Because again, we're only shown specific systems, specific ways of governing, specific ways of dividing resources, things of this nature. And the ones that were shown are specific for a reason, right? Where is the the alternatives? Where are the out of the box thinkers? Where are the ones that are looking at different systems, right? And I've thought about that for a while. And we can get into some of those ideas, but I'm trying to keep this one kind of not specific at this point. But yeah, generational wealth. Our generational wealth, I mean, people are living check to check. I mean, it's so many different ways you can do it. Like it's our money at the end of the day, when you really think about it. The rich billionaires, the rich people, they're getting money from us. It's our money. We're the ones that are buying their products. We're the ones that are supporting them. We're the ones that are consuming. I mean, we're the cogs in the machine that keep it going. As soon as we realize that, then why can't we create a machine that benefits us versus a machine that benefits a select few, right? That's also possible. That's also something that we can simulate, that we can model, we can discuss. And from an engineering standpoint, that's going to be more sustainable, more beneficial in the long run than the system that we got now. The system that we got now, you can see the trajectory. It's on a self-destructive trajectory, but it's not the only thing that we can do. But politics is running the game. It's been running the game for a while. So we'll see what happens. The intent is to show an alternative. And it's just funny to think about, because I was just out at the mall today and just observing people, and they're watching their sports, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's like sometimes I feel like I'm the only one that sees something that needs to be done, and sometimes it feels like, well, like I'm the oddball for trying to change a system that is not working on multiple levels. It hasn't worked on multiple levels for a while. And it's like I'm the weirdo for attempting to change things. So, it is what it is. Yeah, I know, I feel you, Pink. I know there's others out there. But I don't know. I feel that's part of my mission. I feel that's what I'm capable of doing. It's what I'm passionate about. And it's just so much effort and work to try to get into that, lane. It's like there isn't a spot for, I feel there isn't a spot for people like me. Like I'm trying to create that spot, right? If I can dribble and I can dunk and shoot a three, there's a spot for you to make millions and all of this stuff. If I can kick a soccer ball, hit a baseball, catch a football, all of these things, there's a spot for you to have a voice, to have money, and to have influence, things of that nature. But if you want to benefit humanity on a larger scale, if you want to raise the consciousness of the planet, if you want to empower people, if you want to enlighten people, if you want to get them in contact with the divinity that they have within, then it's like, you're on the outside looking in. And that's happened before. That just shows, the system. Even the greats back in the day that were going up against the church and state dealt with the same things, dealt with the same oppression, same suppression, and the same backstabbing, and the same things from their own people that they were trying to help. So, it is what it is. It's just the reality that we're in now. We've got to hold up for ourselves about the issues. I appreciate it, Pink. I appreciate the optimism. Because I will say, I am optimistic. But here's the thing that I see. And I talked about this before, is that and I'm trying to be an example of action. That's why the company that I started was Spirituality in Action, taking action. The people that I look up to are people that took action. The people that we're standing on the backs of are people that took action. PCJ was good. These are people that took action. If they didn't take those actions, then we wouldn't have some of the things that we're enjoying now, right? So a lot of the spiritual community, and I guess I'm part of it in a sense, but not in a sense. I don't know if they understand that it's not just love and light all the time. It's not just prayer and meditation. The people that are controlling and influencing the system, they take action every day, all the time. Look at the news, they're taking action. They're not praying, meditating, they're taking action. They have think tanks, they have money and resources, and they're taking action. We have the numbers. So that's a definite plus, but we're not taking action with our numbers, right? So, and part of that, I think, is the programming that is instilled in us to rely on outside authority figures. A lot of people are waiting for someone to come do something, waiting for a savior, right? We are the saviors. We're the ones that we've been waiting on. And part of that programming is purposeful. And that's what people don't understand, is because there's too many of us for them to police. So we have to self-police ourselves. That's part of the division. That's part of the game. I mean, they run the same playbook. They're not creative. They co-opt our creative ability. They create visions for the future, for the present, for what's possible, and we just go along with it as if alternatives aren't available. So we got Malcolm. Well, it's part Malcolm and it's part Dr. King, right? So, and I'm not saying that it's a violent thing, because that's one of the things I see. Some people will be like, yeah, we need to by any means necessary, kind of Malcolm the thing, like as you said, Pink. But that's another trap, because we don't have the military. That's something that is going to be quickly retaliated against. So we got to be smart about it. Gandhi was smart about it. And that's where Martin kind of picked up on the nonviolence stuff from Gandhi. And Martin and Malcolm, they had their different ways of looking at the situation. But I do think, now we're going to protect ourselves, definitely. But I think there's a peaceful way to do it. That's the long-term strategy. That's the sustainable strategy. Because violence, and I've talked about this before, violence begets violence, right? So I do something to you, you're going to retaliate. Or you do it to me, I'm going to retaliate. And we're just going back and forth on this hamster wheel. Be well, never stop. I appreciate that. So I don't think violence is the answer. I think we got to be smart. We got to be smart about it. We have the numbers, so we don't need to resort to that. Again, we'll protect ourselves, but that's not the first option, in my opinion. That's not the way I'm approaching it. I think we got to be smart about it. I think we have to look at ourselves, and that's the biggest piece. And that's the hardest piece of it, because in reality, we can change the world tomorrow if we really wanted to. I mean, there's a majority. We're 99%, right? We don't have a war if the soldiers say, I'm not shooting this guy. Why am I shooting this guy? Why am I going to kill this guy for you in your office up here in your billionaire home and cars and all this stuff? Why am I killing this guy, right? Because he's on this side of the line. He looks just like me. We may speak a different language, but I mean, I don't have no beef with this guy, This territory isn't owned by anybody, right? You can say it's this. We did a video on Murr, Burr, and Sir, right? That makes just as much sense as these names that are out there now. It's imaginary lines with real consequences. So if those soldiers said no, it would stop. If we said no, it would stop. But there's a lot of comfort, and that's the other thing. There's a lot of comfort in the system, but it's a false comfort. It's a false comfort. Okay. So diplomatic first, Dr. Kings. Right? Yeah. We'll go that route. And I'm not saying there's there's a balance. You know, we definitely want to be balanced. Um, Actually, I hear you. I'm joking about. Nah, I got you. I got you, Pete. But yeah, it's a balance. Because the thing is, I'm not going to put someone in a situation that I wouldn't put myself in. I'm not going to send you out to fight a situation that I wouldn't go fight in, right? A lot of these people that are in office now, they're sending your kids, your sons and daughters out to fight for something that makes no sense. They don't care if they get killed, right? They're just, I mean, that's not a concern of theirs. They're not sending their daughters and sons out there. Very few of them, you know, and they're not going to be on the front lines, right? Very few of them as well, you know, because they're important, whatever. I mean, no, you're important. We're important, right? And the thing is, it doesn't make sense. And I can't, in my mind, make it make sense. Maybe, you know, and I've seen a lot, been through a lot, and only talk about a small portion, because that little small portion that I talk about seems to not register on the scale that I feel it should. Um, the value that I feel is there isn't seen. And I'm constantly trying to push to match the value that I feel is there, not for what I'm saying, you know, I'm just one person, but the value in the truth, the value in that, to push it to where it has its chance to be seen and heard, to broadcast it on the highest level. I mean, that's the best way to put it, so that people can have access to it and be able to make their own decisions. Right now, we're only getting shown a small piece of the story, a small part of the story. They're controlling the narrative. They're not giving us all of the story. Because if we really had all of the story, then we would make different decisions. They don't want us to make different decisions. They want us to continue on the same path because that's the agenda and it benefits the people it benefits. So that's part of my thing, because I do feel if people have access to what's going on, that not everyone will see. Some people, you know, are dead asleep, right? And that's fine. Even in the system that we think about, there's ways for the people that are dead asleep and you know, are not even interested in self-realization or anything like that. There's still a different way, a better way that we can govern for those people, right? Because it's a timing thing for us all. You know, all of us have had our times where we were dead asleep, right? I've had my times where I was dead asleep. It was a timing thing for me. So I'm not looking down on anyone that is not ready to you know, take their own power. But for those that do, and for those that have, and for those that want a difference and want to change, this is an alternative that I feel adds value. The problem is, I feel this should be mainstream. Like I want this to be on whatever avenues they have to tell us all of this other crap. Let the people see the alternatives. Let them be able to make their own decisions. Let them be able to see both sides of the coin. Right now, we're only showing one side of the coin. I don't know if some of you guys remember G.I. Joe, where they say, hey, what's going on, Big Pat? G.I. Joe, no one is half the battle. So we're losing a lot of the battle because we don't know, right? And we don't know, a lot of us don't know, because for one, we haven't been taught. You know, our school system could be a lot better. Let's just say that. Our news system could be a lot better. Our school system does not teach you how to deal with the basics of life. They teach you how to be a good worker. They teach you how to plug into the system. They don't teach you how to deal with your emotions. They don't teach you how to handle stress. They don't teach you how to do these things, right? But on the outside, if you don't know how to deal with those things, they definitely have something ready for you when you do get out of line. They know exactly where they're going to put you. They know exactly what they're going to do to you, but they haven't equipped you with the tools to be able to handle that, right? So you can look at that as well. I've talked to quite a few teachers, and maybe some of you guys are teachers, and they talk about the school system. I wonder if we could get you on TED Talk to discuss this. It would be nice. I mean, whatever the venue, and TED Talk, Oprah, news, it just needs to be out there. It needs to be discussed. The thing is, again, it's not the information, just the information. We need to take action on it. We could have all of the knowledge in the world, but if we don't apply that knowledge and take action on it, it doesn't mean anything. So there's a lot of people that are intellectually smart and have a lot of book knowledge, but are not applying it. I mean, I've been around engineers my entire life, and a lot of them are very smart, but very unaware as well. A lot of engineers don't know who they are, but they can solve this problem and solve that problem. They haven't solved that problem, right? Maybe they don't feel there's a benefit to that problem, or that's a problem worth solving, or even know that that's even a problem to solve. There's a lot of nuance there, but it's not even on, and you mentioned TED Talk, and that's one avenue, but I think it needs to be a us talk. It needs to be a us conversation. Let's not talk to the intellectuals that are just gonna sit on this stuff. Let's talk to the people that is actually gonna benefit. And that's us. I mean, we're the ones that are not benefiting from this information and this unity that we're talking about. So we're the ones that we need to be talking to. We're the ones that we need to be working with. And that's part of the process. So we'll see. I'm just one small fry trying to do his thing. And there will come a point where it'll be like, okay, well, it's kind of like it's a timing thing. So maybe the time is not right. Maybe it needs to be worse for people to realize. I hope now. I hope we're smart enough to try to right the ship before it gets worse. Because whatever hole that we're digging is the same hole we got to dig ourselves out of. So I'm like, hey y'all, this hole's pretty deep, right? We gotta get out of this joker. So let's stop digging it. Let's just stop digging it, and then maybe at least it's not getting deep, right? Let's at least stop that. But a lot of it is momentum. A lot of it is what it is. This is how it's always been. A lot of it is this is hell. This is the devil's playground, and I'm waiting on Jesus to come, and I'm going to go to heaven and this, that, and the other, and they can have all of this. But then don't you have kids here? Don't you have family here? I don't know. That's a whole different rabbit hole. But part of that is stopping the bleeding first. Stop the bleeding first, and then we can do some things. Appreciate it, Ego. It only takes one. Yeah, it's a start. I mean, one person can start it. I've said before, a leader of a leaderless movement. It has to be a movement, because we've seen what happens. Let's use Dr. King, for example, right? If it's just one person taking that mantle, right, and standing up against oppression, standing up against the powers that be, if you will, it's easy to take that person out, assassinate him. I'm in Memphis. You can go to where he was assassinated. It is the Lorraine Hotel. It's a museum now, and you can go there and you can see where he stood, where he was killed, and where they shot him from over there. But the movement stopped with that. That was it, And a lot of people don't want that, right? I guess you can't blame them, but now they go there and they take pictures. They take pictures in front of this thing, this place where he was killed, and it's a museum that's kind of benefiting from that. Yeah, I'm not in Memphis, about a half hour out of Memphis, but yeah. So that's what's there, and the journey that he took, the stuff that he was talking about, is still valid now. Like, he didn't finish. Like, there's still work to be done, but if it's not taken on, if we don't take ownership in it, then those movements can die with those people. Malcolm movement, Malcolm's movement can die with Malcolm. Dr. King's movement can die with him, right? If it's not internalized by other people. And certain people will see, oh, well, they killed him and I don't want to be killed. So I'm just gonna, sit back. And there's scholars and people that have more power, money, and resources than I do that know these things, that are afraid to speak out because they don't want it to ruin their power, money, and influence. And they may have fear of repercussions for that. But that does not mean that it's not important and that there's still things that need to be done, right? I mean, Malcolm's dream, I mean, it still hasn't been realized, right? I mean, there's still, it's improved on a level, but there's still a lot of work to be done. So that's why it has to be a shared thing. So when I say leader of a leaderless movement, yeah, one person can start it, but it needs to be shared. That's why when we talk about the ideas, the reality that we want to build, it needs to be a collective so that we all have a piece of the pie, a piece of the puzzle, where we have shared interests, shared goals, to where it's not just one person. Like, I'm not a materialistic person. I'm not I know I'm not going to take any money or anything that I own materially with me. So I don't carry a lot of it now, right? So I'm not doing this to enrich myself or benefit myself or for fame or wealth and all that stuff. I mean, most of the people that will come around, if anything does come out of this, I mean, I'll be able to see them coming. I mean, there's going to be a lot of fake people that will just try to jump on the bandwagon once they see something happens, right? And that happens, and to be able to see that. I mean, people will try to infiltrate whatever movement, but my intent is not money, felt lane, money, fame, wealth, and all of these things. I want the money so that I have the resources to do things. If I was a billionaire, I already have plenty of ideas of what I would do if I was a billionaire. If I had a voice that would project this, then I'd be talking about this on, it would be more than you guys. And I appreciate you guys. I know your time is valuable. But if I had a larger platform, I wouldn't be scared to talk about this stuff. Obviously, I'm not scared to talk about it on the little platform that I have now. So it's just going to be amplified. And I'm trying to amplify. I'm doing the work that I can do to try to amplify. And you can see that. You can see the work that has been put up to this point with no financial benefit, with no backing, it's been painful. I've lost a lot of things by taking this journey, but it's not for my own personal gain. It's because, using one of Martin's words, I'm going to mess his quote up, but injustice just needs to be addressed, basically. And that's not his quote. And that's what I feel. And I would want you guys to do the same thing for me. So maybe that's another example that I'm showing, like the amount of effort to put to try to help in the change. I would hope someone will do that for me. I appreciate that. Yeah, and that's the thing. And I appreciate the comment on the authenticity. I try to be. I mean, it's it is what it is, and I want to show that being that kind of person, you can win. You can win being authentic, being caring, being having empathy, being spiritually aware. All of these things that are traits that the people that are rich and famous and powerful now don't exhibit those traits, right? And it's okay. You can be a rich butthole, and that's okay. You can be a rich, greedy person, and that's okay. You can be a rich, we allow that to happen. That's okay. We even got sayings like nice guys finish last, right? So yeah, and and that's the thing, that the people that try to do this kind of work are not really doing it for those reasons. Because it's an uphill battle in this reality. I mean, it's, this matrix is it's a doozy. They definitely have a stranglehold on this joker. Calling is a calling. Appreciate that, Alex. It is what it is, and it's got it is what it is. I've accepted it and whatever comes along with it. My only thing is I want to maximize what I'm capable of and do the best job that I can while I'm here. So, and I'm okay with being proved wrong. I'm okay with someone saying you're wrong on X, Y, Z. The book that I wrote, The 100-Degree Challenge, I try to make it very simple for someone to prove my experience, the thing that has got me on this side of the camera. If it hadn't happened to me, I wouldn't be as adamant and as forthright as I am, because I'm not going to lie to you. I'm definitely not going to lie to myself. And I'm an intellectual person, so it makes sense on paper, it makes sense scientifically, and then I've had my own experience. I've done the work for that as well. So as I mentioned before, you can't gaslight a light, but I mean, show me where I'm wrong. Just don't say I'm crazy. Just don't say this, that, and the other, or whatever. Show me how, where, why. I mean, let's be specific. I've tried to be specific with laying this out. So we'll see if that is able to be done. But I've tried to think through the steps that I would need to take in the past to allow this current present to have the best opportunity for success. So I've been thinking about this and laying it out systematically for years. And this has been years in the making. And it's been a journey, and it's been one where a lot of people have fell to the wayside, because they don't see the vision, they don't see the value. And as you guys know as well, as you start to raise your vibration, you separate yourself. I mean, it's not anything that I've done. I mean, I still love them. I just love them from a distance. Not everyone's gonna be on that journey with you, but they won't be able to get on here and say it's not valuable. They won't be able to get on here and say what I'm lying about, what I'm not factual about, what I haven't experienced, what is not available for them to experience. Like I've said before, no one owns the truth. This is not my truth. This is not anything that I'm saying you can't prove for yourself and to yourself. That's the thing about the good news. You can experience it yourself. So when you see the level of oppression to it, it really shows that there are you can call them entities or whatever that want to stop the average person from realizing this. And it's you can call it a spiritual war if you want to. You can call it oppression. You can call it whatever, but it's not an even playing field. It's not an even playing field. It's an uphill battle for the truth to get out. It's easier for a lie to get out than for the truth to get out, at least in this reality right now. I think that's changing, but we have to be the ones that value the truth for it to change. And it's a process. And as of right now, it's a slow process. And my thing is, I don't know how much time we have to wait. Like I've had a sense of urgency for years. And part of this whole campaign will be to, I wouldn't say wash my hands of it, but to say maybe I'll approach it in a different way. Maybe this isn't the right avenue, but maybe something comes out of this, another way to approach the situation. Because I do feel it's valuable. I do see the potential in it. And I have, young people that I don't want to leave if they talk to me and they say, well, you saw all this crap happening in the world, what did you do about it? I don't want to tell them, well, I just, watch TV and rooted for my favorite team. And we won the Super Bowl. Yay. And no, I want to say I was one that was trying to help, that was trying to do whatever I could to make things better. And the more of us that are able to do that, the better chance we have at changing things. Because without that, without that, we're going to be subject to the will of others. And when you look at the will of others, just look at where we are now, right? Just look at where we are now, and look at where they want to take it. It's not beneficial. It's not beneficial on a lot of different levels. So this will be part of the GoFundMe, and we're going to do virtual town halls. So we're trying to build some momentum. What's going on in American Gypsy? So we're trying to build some momentum. So I appreciate you being part of the conversation, but I'd like for you to be vocal as well. I want your ideas. I want your input. That's because, again, this has to be a shared thing. I can be someone that tries to start things. Like sometimes I feel like I'm the guy, I've said this before, if you've ever went to a football game or major event, the guy that's trying to start the wave, right? That are getting people to stand up and participate. I feel like kind of that guy trying to start a wave. And so right now it's only 9 of us that are standing up, but eventually, if we keep standing up, right, eventually people will see, hey, there's this other thing going on. Yeah, there's this crap going on in the field, in the matrix, that they want our attention, this bread and circus that's going on, the game, if you will. And they just want us to spectate. They don't want us to take part in it, right? The game, the 1% is playing, that the 99% is observing. And you got this one knucklehead, this vikterbang guy, that's up here trying to get us to do the wave. And eventually, if we keep that momentum, then we can see that we can have our own thing, right? And but at first, if you don't know what the wave is, if you've never seen the wave, this is just a guy telling you to stand up, and you're sitting down, and you're comfortable. You're comfortable watching the show, right? Watching the thing go down the drain, right? So that's what I'm saying as far as no script. There is no precedence for this. We're creating this story as co-creators. And I know people will talk about where we've won on a level and it's already done, but on a level, I can see the potential for that, but we still have to do it. It still has to be done, right? Just saying it's already done and sitting down and not doing nothing, it's not going to make it happen. Someone still has to do it, right? So who else is going to do it? If not us, then who else? So we have to be the ones, if we see it, to call it out, to make a difference. We can make it happen faster. I hope so. It's never done. I feel you on that. It's like they say in our Kaizen, continuous improvement, right? We're continually improving. So we're trying to continue. We're continual growth, if you will. So I feel you on that. And I'd like to make it happen faster. I like to accelerate it. I think there's a balance in it. There's things that you don't want to rush, but I don't feel that we're at that point yet. I still think there's a lot of things we can push to the forefront. A lot of people don't want to use GoFundMe because of how they did the truckers. Yeah, I get you, and I'm with you on that. They can definitely, yeah, I know, and that's the thing. How many options do we have? Yeah, you can go direct and all of that stuff, but as someone that a lot of people don't know, I'm trying to use things that people are aware and comfortable of. Maybe there's another platform. I don't know. I mean, there's Kickstarter, GoFundMe, and Indiegogo, and then there's Start Engine. But those Start Engine and Kickstarter are more for products and things of that nature. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, maybe this is just the avenue to gain the attention, and it takes off on another route. So we'll see. The whole point is to start the conversation and show that there's something that we can do, and also simulate to show the potential. In the campaign, talk about a Kaizen. So as an engineer in business, you've probably been involved in a Kaizen. It stands for change for good, right? And what it is, it's when you have a problem and you analyze the data. There's an 8-step problem solving process, right? But and it's called continuous improvement as well. But the idea is to take the problem, to analyze it, and change it for good. And you keep checking that change to see if it works, and if the things that you thought were going to happen were going to happen. And then you continue to keep doing that. It's good, white buddy. And it's a process, just like it was said before. It's a process, but that can be applied to anything. They do it for cars, they do it for manufacturing, they do it for warehouses, they do it for anything that makes money, makes profit, because it works. We can do that same thing with government, with politics, because it works. But it's a process of objectively looking at what's beneficial, what works, what's pragmatic, using data, not using my feelings or what I think is the best. That's why we use data. You're trying to take your emotions out of the process, and then you test it. You come up with a solution, you test it, and you see the results of that. Does it work? Is it working like we should? Okay, what do we need to adjust? All right, let's adjust it. You keep on checking. They also close the stock market when people are officially. Yeah, the game is rigged. I'm with you, Ego. It is definitely an uphill battle. It is definitely an uphill battle. And until we are in control of these systems, that's what we'll have to deal with. That's what we'll have to deal with. But part of it is like you said, it's showing these things, showing that they'll let you elevate to a certain level and then they'll stop it, So it's not about us. It's about control. But there are things that we can do to make it better. And that's the whole campaign, that's the whole process. And I want people to get involved, and I want people to have a voice. Because again, like we said before, if it's one person can easily be shot down. It has to be a collective thing. Otherwise, it'll fizzle out with one individual. And that's what we don't want to happen. And we've seen that happen in the past. Dr. King was a good example. It's not like when he died, everything was, the work was done, right? Racism is gone. His dream is realized, right? No, that didn't happen. A lot of that momentum died with him. But yeah, we can do things. I'm just showing an example. And history will show how it ends up. Right now, we're in the middle of it. We're in the middle of this shift. We're in the middle of this flux. And no one's coming to save us. No aliens are coming down here. No one's coming to save us, in my opinion. If they do, cool. Hey, I'm with you. Let's work this thing out. But I don't think it works like that. I don't think the long-lasting, sustainable solution is for us to be saved, because then that just creates a people that need to be saved, right? It's just continuing that whole process, right? And, if you don't learn your own lesson and someone continues to pick you up when you fall, then how do you get the strength? How do you realize that you have the strength to get up yourself, right? That's what humanity needs to do. And we've got our work cut out for us, but once we get past this, once we take our power back, once we realize it's us that we're waiting on, then that's the story that's going to reverberate out there, right? To come out of that hole, out of the suppression, out of how rigged the game is, to come out of that is something that's going to be, the greatest story ever told, right? If you look at how much suppression and things that are going on, to come out of that, it's going to be monumental. But we got a monumental task. But no one's coming to save us, in my opinion. And If they are coming to save us, then I would say, what are they waiting on? How bad does it have to get? Yeah, how bad does it have to get? But I think that's not, I don't think it works like that. So, it's us. We're the saviors. We're the ones that we've been waiting on. So I'm gonna keep this at an hour and 30. And I know it wasn't the best one, but this is so big. It's intimidating. Yeah, it is. It is intimidating. I mean, it is. It is. And I'm only talking about a small piece of it, for reasons. But because why even add other things to the equation? We're just looking at, and that's why we're looking at the politics, because this is what people understand. They understand politics, they understand campaigning, campaign trail, they understand a president, they understand town halls, they understand debate, they understand, these kind of things. So we can at least start there and not get too over the head. We're trying to keep this simple. We're trying to simplify things because it is big and it is intimidating. But like they say, you can eat an elephant a bite at a time. So we're taking small bites, and we'll eventually get there. But we have to continue to move forward. We got to continue to push forward. And the first step is building that momentum. Sometimes you think about a runner coming out of the blocks, his first steps are the slowest. It takes him a while to build up that momentum. So that's what we're doing now. We're just coming out of the blocks, not just coming out of the blocks, but we haven't got our stride. Once we get our stride, we have some more momentum going. But right now, the steps are slow and it's slogging. It's just, but once we get moving, we'll get there. But we have to keep moving, and there has to be a constant momentum. We just can't start and stop and start and stop. And a lot of that's happened with people that have seen things, spoke out, and they've been stopped and things stopped with them. So that's why, again, it has to be something that catches on with us. It has to be something that you feel it's valuable, that you feel it's worth sharing, that you feel it's worth putting in effort and taking action on. If not, then it's just going to default to those that are doing what they're doing now, and we'll continue to get the same thing we got. Like they say, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting to get different results. So if we continue the same thing we're doing, we'll get the same results. And we're the fools for thinking that it's going to change itself. Just like Ego Extendo said, the system is rigged. The system works and does what it is doing very well. It's not going to change itself. For us to think that it's going to change itself is part of the insanity. It's part of the insanity. Not for me, start with the aliens and I get lost at the government. Yeah, no, and that's the thing. That's part of it as well, is to shed a little light on that, because they make it confusing for a reason. It's like some religions make it confusing for a reason. But why does it have to be that confusing? They do it on purpose because they don't want you to even deal with it, right? Because it's just too much legalese, too much this, that, and the other. So they do that on purpose, but anything can be simplified. It doesn't have to be that complicated. They make it that complicated to deter us, really. What's going on down South Cisco? Resourceful and less wasteful. Absolutely. I think our society needs innovative ideas that are genuine and that will show us the way. Absolutely. I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100%. And I want to be part of that conversation. I want to be part of that team. I'm attempting to build that team. So let's continue to do that. Let's continue to have conversations. Like I mentioned before, if you go to spiritact.com, you'll see the 2024 campaign, and whether or not you contribute to it or whatever. And I understand, not want to deal with GoFundMe, but let's still talk. Let's still do the Zooms. Let's still do these things, and we'll see. I'm sure as we put our heads together, we can find a way to do things that are less wasteful and resourceful. Because if not us, then who? I mean, they have the money, the ability, the resources. They could have done all of this stuff by now if they really wanted to do it, right? If they really wanted to do it, they could have done all this. if they wanted to solve world hunger, if they wanted to increase our health, if they all of these things that would benefit the majority, if they wanted to do it, they can do it, right? But that's not their agenda. That's not their intent. So as soon as we realize that and stop looking for them to do what they don't want to do, they're not motivated to do, we take it on ourselves. And then we stop supporting them because they're only rich because we make them rich. They're only powerful because we give them the power. They're only influential because we're influenced by them. So when we stop that, we create our own system and they're unplugged. Now they're the outsider. Now they're the outlier, right? And you know, it's a whole switch that's flipped that we can do. Yeah, so let's continue the conversation. So this is going to be on there. We'll see where it goes. You know, I'm riding the same ride that you guys are riding. As far as the things that I wanted to say, I pretty much said what I wanted to say. And now I want to see what's possible with action. Again, spirituality and action. Let's put action to it. Let's see what we can really do. In the age of information, ignorance is a choice. Everything that I'm talking about and that we talked about is what's going on, Killer, is there. These people can understand, and I mean, so now the information is there, right? So now it's up to the people that are aware, that want to take action. And there's enough of us. We have the numbers. Once we unite and show a united face, you're about to get off. Yeah, I'm trying to keep it short. Pink. I said an hour and a half. But we'll once we show a united front, then that is a game changer. That is a game changer. And we're able to do that. And it doesn't have to be anything, again, the basics. If we can master the basics, we can definitely do that. And again, we're more alike than we are apart. Got one more question. Go ahead. What you got, Pink? Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Oh, here's something too. Because time is a valuable resource, right? And I appreciate you guys joining. I know your time is very valuable. And we talked about, we go back to this resourceful and less wasteful from down South Cisco. There's plenty of systems that we can create, right? We're in the monetary system, the fiat currency system, right? That's one way to exchange energy and goods with each other, right? But I was thinking too about a time-based resource system to where, because that's one thing you can't get back. We can talk about that in more detail later. I don't want to get into the weeds with that. But a time-based system, how would that work? It wouldn't be a one-to-one kind of deal, but we'll just talk it through it now. You can kind of look at it. The things that you want, you put the time in, you volunteer for the things that you want. And that volunteer time is like you paying for that, right? And for example, and this is way off. I mean, this is humanity's here and we're controlling all this stuff. I mean, this is future stuff, right? But just putting it out there. There are certain people that want to just live a basic life, right? And don't need all of this stuff, right? Basic things. But if you want to be the one that wants the Lamborghini and all the fancy stuff, all of the expensive stuff, it takes a lot of time, then you have to invest your time in those things, right? Because people are investing their time to build those things and to produce those things. So you put your time into those things that you want to reap, right? Because it's time. Your time is not more valuable than my time. So just kind of looking at that from an exchange standpoint, right? And we'll have a base level where people are volunteering their time for the basics. So let's just say, for example, all right, let's just say I'm a simple guy. I just want electricity and food, right? electricity and food. I don't have to work for no one, electricity and food. So, okay, I volunteer my time at the electric plant and I volunteer my time at the farm, right? And as I volunteer my time, I put my time into that specific thing. And now I get the resources from that, right? Because it takes time for those things to grow. It takes time for the electricity to be generated, things of that nature. So just looking at it like that. So then that person that wants the super yacht and all of that stuff, that's a lot of time invested. They can go for it. I mean, you can spend your years to get that yacht, but I mean, it looks very silly to spend all your time and energy to get something when, you know, when you look at it from that standpoint, right? Because it's their time. Their time is valuable. Your time is not valuable, right? They'll pay you minimum wage, but they'll get paid millions and billions, right? So their time is definitely more valuable, but it's not, right? It's not. Time is time. None of us can get it back. So I appreciate you spending your time there. So that's just an example of way in the future kind of thing, where you have a society where you invest the time in the things that you want, right? And eventually it levels out because you realize that your time is more spent on the things you enjoy. That person, I mean, you wouldn't spend 10 years of your time to try to get this boat, right? You want to spend that time with your family and things that you enjoy, right? So the person that does that will look very silly, right? They don't look silly now because they can employ a whole lot of people to spend their time to build those things and put their resources into making them things. Absolutely, time is currency. So kind of looking at it from that standpoint. So that's just one example, but there's a lot of different ways that we can do that. But we're here and that's way up there. So we have to take the steps to get there, right? But if we're talking about it, it's possible, right? And we can get to a level of society to where, I mentioned the story and I'll mention it again. I was talking to a young lady. She was probably, 8 or 9. And I was asking her about what's wrong with the world and, the younger generation, right? Our future ancestors. And what can we do to change it? And what kind of society she would like to be a part of. And she said, you do what you love and you get what you love. And it was very, very simple, and she explained it, like the person that loves to farm farms, the person that loves to make music makes music, the person that loves to cook cooks, the person that loves to work on cars works on cars, the person that loves to, right? It's a network where you do what you love and get what you love. The person that farms farms, and the person that loves to cook gets the food from the farmer and cooks that food for the farmer. And the farmer gets his car worked on by the mechanic that loves to work on cars, right? And all of these things, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways that we can interact with each other once we realize that there's alternatives to the small things that we've been shown. All righty. So just kind of want to talk to that. And let's see. Is there anything else you guys got? So hopefully you guys can get on the Zoom and we can interact, because I want to hear your voice. I want to hear your comments. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, and I'll be quiet. Because you're going to see there's going to be negativity in this, right? You're going to get a lot of, it's not that easy, it's not that simple, this, that, and the other. And we're trying to make it easy. We're not trying to make it complicated. But you're going to get a lot of haters and naysayers, and that's just going to be part of it. But we'll be able to, we know how to deal with that kind of thing. But it's part of the process. And it's not for that individual, because sometimes that individual just wants to be confrontational. It's for the people that are observing that confrontation and that conversation, right? So you can deal with this person, and yeah, they may be dogmatic in their beliefs. They may not believe they can be wrong or that there's a better alternative, and they may be stuck in their ways. But that conversation is beneficial, not because you're trying to change that person, but because there's other people watching that conversation, and they may have similar beliefs, but may be more open-minded. So it's going to happen as well. I see you, Lex 936. Let's see, man. Sounds like the island I wanted to buy. Everyone who lived there had a job, but they issue purpose, all purpose is currency. Yep. Okay, I appreciate that, Ego. Yeah, I mean, the Zoom, where's the info on this? So it's on the website, Spirit in Act, or it stands for Spirit in Action, but Spirit in Action was taken. SPIRITACT.com. And you'll see under the 2024 campaign, there's Zoom links. We're going to start the first one on Thursday, and we'll do it every Thursday throughout March. And we'll still do these lives, and we'll do that as well. And we'll record those conversations. And that'll be part of the campaign. So this is part of the campaign. This is the kickoff. And then those Zooms, and we'll see what kind of momentum that we build with that. And that'll be part of it. Because I mean, we're making history. We're part of the story now. We're the ones that are starting the movement, starting the wave. So this is really documenting that as well. So that's where the Zoom stuff will be. So if you want to listen in or be involved in that, then definitely do that, and I appreciate it. And yeah, because I want your input. This isn't a me thing. Like I really want to stress that this isn't a look at me thing. Like it isn't that at all. I'm just someone that's attempting to generate something, start a conversation, get something moving. Let's do something besides just sit here and just watch the world go down the drain, right? So this is the best thing that I've came up with. There could be other ideas. I'm not saying I have the best ideas and all the solutions. That's definitely not the case. And I feel that I don't. I feel that our ideas are definitely going to be better than my idea. So that's why I want to create the environment to where we can share those ideas. And for people to realize that their ideas are valid. Just because you're not a scientist or politician or have this degree or that doesn't mean that you don't have good ideas and your voice isn't valid and your thing should be heard. We tend to think that these people that are in these authority positions are the only ones that have good stuff and valid ideas, right? Because they have letters behind their names or they're famous or whatever. It's not the case, right? You guys are just as valuable. Your time is just as valuable. So again, I appreciate you spending it here. And yeah, that's it. So we're gonna close this one out. We'll do another live, and we got the Zoom on the Zoom on the 3rd. So we got 5 in March. So every week on Thursday. So plug in where you can. Feel free to share the GoFundMe. I'll be doing some advertising with that. Just kind of see where it goes, and we'll take it from there. But definitely appreciate the time. Appreciate y'all joining in. Appreciate it, Lex. Appreciate it, Pink. Appreciate it, Helen. Appreciate it, where you at, Ego. And I already said Helen. Who else is down there? Cisco. And let's see, where's she at? American Gypsy, I'm not sure. And Killer Candake. Yeah, appreciate y'all. All right, love y'all. Y'all stay safe, and again, we'll keep it moving. All right, peace, y'all.